someone spilled their coffee or something. Honestly, I still wonder sometimes if it's part of it. I don't think it is. No, it's definitely not part of it. But I got it for maybe €3 off of Vinted, so whatever. This was definitely the most disgusting book that I've owned. Anyway, Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Eleanor Oliphant leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor Oliphant is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence, except sometimes everything. This follows a woman who has had an incredibly difficult past. I have talked about this book in my favorite books of the year video, so you may have heard me talk about it before. I really fell in love with Eleanor. She, like I said, has had a very troubled childhood, has had a very difficult life, and kind of goes through the motions. And through a series of events, you get to witness her coming to life and unpacking all these things from her past. And I like the psychological aspects in novels like this, but I specifically just really loved Eleanor as a character. I love the way that it was written. There was humor in it. It was witty. It was emotional. It was maybe slow-paced, but it didn't feel like it. If you watch my book videos, or have watched them for a while, you might know that I don't like slow-paced books. Like, I'm more at a medium to fast lover, but this was so good. I feel like I got to spend so much time with her and got to connect with her so much, and I really came to love her as a character. I would not recommend this book if you are currently really in a difficult situation, and like read the trigger warnings maybe. I don't know if they are in the book, but definitely online. But this book was such a warm hug still, and I'm really glad that I read it. So I would highly recommend it. Funny, touching, and unpredictable. That's pretty accurate. Then this next book, I just finished this morning. It's a Dutch book, so I will probably do a quick summary in English and then yap in Dutch for a bit for my Dutch audience, because I do not know if this book is translated. I will look it up for you, and if it is, here's the result. I just read Rob van Essen's Ik kom hier nog op terug, which translates to I'll get back to this later. Kind of in the way that you would write it down in a journal when you have experienced a lot and it's too much to write down, and you'll say, I'll get back to this later, which is actually a big part of what this book is about. So, this follows a journalist, Rob Hollander, and he comes from a very religious upbringing, and he lives a bit of a monotonous life, kind of in a way that Eleanor lives her life, except for all the vodka. Anyway, he studied philosophy, and he now works as a journalist, and in an attempt to write an article about what became of his old college friends, classmates, he contacts everyone and comes across an old classmate with a time machine, and he offers him the opportunity to go back to the past to fix same as how in English a classic reads so differently than an Elsie Silver book or Emily Henry or a Claire Keegan or a Sally Rooney. You know, there are such different vibes and tones, and same goes within Dutch language. And I really liked his style of writing so much. It was very deep, but very much like a train of thought. And now I'm gonna switch to Dutch. Dat is echt voor als je dit boek hebt gelezen. Dit boek had me echt... Ik dacht in het begin echt, oh oké, ik weet niet helemaal of dit voor mij is. Maar gaandeweg raakte ik er echt helemaal door opgeslokt. En ik vind de manier van schrijven dus echt heel erg leuk. Op een gegeven moment, dit is niet super relaxed thema, maar hij heeft het over de bibliotheek. En hoe je daar naar binnen stapt. En hoe het eigen geuren heeft. En hoe die nostalgisch zijn. En toen had hij het erover dat het, als je langs het toilet loopt. Sorry, trigger warning, poep. Maar dat het dan evenveel ruikt als luchtverfrisser en poep. Alsof het samen door een spuitbus komt. En ik heb gewoon die hele specifieke associatie met de bibliotheektoiletten ook. Ik weet dat dit super raar is om te zeggen, maar er zit gewoon iets ontzettend nostalgisch in de manier waarop hij schrijft. En alsof hij echt gewoon zo eerlijk alles op papier heeft gezet. Binnen het feit dat het een fictieverhaal is natuurlijk, oké, maar de schrijfstijl, de anekdotes die erin zitten, de gedachtenspinsels van de hoofdpersoon waren gewoon zo ontzettend realistisch. En je kijkt echt naar iemand die helemaal verzeild is geraakt in zijn eigen verhaal en in zijn eigen hoofd. En ja, er zitten stukken in dit boek waarvan ik denk, wat? Waarom was dit relevant? Ik denk nog niet dat ik het helemaal snap zelfs. Maar desalniettemin vond ik het een supergoed verhaal. En raad ik het 100% aan. Echt waar. Ik wil er niet te veel over zeggen, want ik denk dat het leuke aan dit verhaal gewoon is als je er zo blind mogelijk in gaat. Want je wordt echt alle kanten op gestuurd. En het is echt een fucking goed verhaal. nonfiction, just a collection of essays about women. And for Christmas, my brother got me Ikigai, and I'm really excited to read that because I've just been learning a lot about Ikigai and I want to read the book. So I don't have any fiction books that I have my eyes on at the moment. I'll probably start Intermezzo because I still have it and I haven't started it. Well, I have, but I couldn't get into it, but I hope I can now, and we'll see. But I wanted to take some time to talk about next year and my reading intentions, goals, etc. Specifically because I do still make book content. I want to keep making book content. So first of all, I did 2 videos about my bookshelves where I talk in depth about every book that I physically own that are on my shelf. And so I will complete that series. We've done 2 shelves out of the 5. Do I have 5? Yes. And then I have some random ones in my room that I'll talk about as well. But for the book content, I kind of have let go of what I read every month, because I don't think that I want to measure it per month anymore, because I noticed that I do start to put a pressure on myself to complete X amount in a month so that I can make a video that's like at least 20 minutes long, because to me 20 minutes at least is like ASMR. It's like worth an ASMR video, which isn't true, it's just something in my brain, you know, but of course I'm reading for me and not for anyone else, so I have already let go of that month by month thing. I will still keep the book reviews coming whenever I do read, and I am not going to be setting a reading goal anymore, nor will I give star ratings anymore, just because I think the system absolutely sucks, and I don't get a clear overview for me or insight into what it is that I like and what I like to read and why I like to read it, because I can rate The Picture of Dorian Gray a 5-star, but I didn't have a 5-star experience. But I think that the way that it was written, what the story is, you know, it's 5 stars. And I think that the star system puts a lot of pressure on authors as well. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and on the reading community. If you, like, people are like on Goodreads, if you give below a 3-star, the book that won't get recommended more, and it will actually really hurt the author's, how to say, like a reputation or whatever, how to say it. But I think that if you had a 2-star experience with a book, you should rate it 2 stars, and that's out of the author's hands, and you shouldn't rate it to please anyone. And just, you know, but everyone has their own star measurement, so I don't want to do that anymore. I think I'm going to rate it out of 10 and just have different categories or something. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do yet, but I personally really have come to hate the star system in a way, because just no, like a star rating would for me just be the feeling, I guess. But if I give a review and a recommendation, it's not just because of the feeling, because that's probably the worst way I would recommend anything to anyone. If I'm like, that made me feel really good, like what's that to anyone? Like, you can have such a different feeling. Anyway, I just want to do a out of 10 rating probably, or have 2 separate star ratings maybe, but I just won't add it to Goodreads anymore. You will know when I recommend a book if I would recommend it or not, and then for all the reasons that I am discussing, I will or will not recommend it, you know. It's just, yeah. Also, with a lot of things, I try not to opinionize so much on it, and I feel like with the star rating, it's really making me judge a book as I am reading it, instead of just enjoying it and reading it. I don't know. I just don't think that that system works for me, so I won't be doing star ratings anymore. I'm not going to set a goal anymore, because I think that that adds unnecessary pressure to myself. And force myself to read a book. I probably will because I think it's good for me and it makes me feel good. So, but you know what I mean, I hope. I just don't want to force it too much or feel, like I said, that external pressure, because it's just a hobby for me, and the bonus is that I get to share it with you and that I have a lot more time to read because of you, of course. But yeah, that's kind of my view over the past 2 years of reading quite intensely and passionately, how I want to move forward with reading. I follow this girl on YouTube called Harriet, and I will link the video that I'll be talking about in the description box, but she talked about like bookish unpopular opinions, hot takes, and I really agree with her opinion on the star system. And so if you want a little bit more insight into that, I really recommend watching that video, because I think that she describes the issue really, really well. So that's kind of the main things. I will still be doing my book reviews. I will do maybe show and tells, or TBR videos. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but the book content will still be a regular thing. Definitely, because I love making it and I love the book community, and it's one of my favorite places to be. So I'm really excited about the new year. There are definitely books that I'm excited to read. Of course, I can't think of any single book as I'm sitting here with a light blasting in my face, but I'm just really excited to discover new genres. I think I want to pick up a thriller next year. I really want to stop hopping on the bandwagon of online hyped books and browse in the bookstore to find something. I want to read more Dutch books. I want to do more literary fiction and non-fiction, because I feel like those are, well, literary fiction specifically is definitely something I've gravitated towards the most in the past year, and then with the occasional romance. But I feel like with the romances I've read as well this year, I just want a good story. And with some books, maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but Hannah Grace, I really, really doubt if at some points, like specific authors, and then with her books I really did feel that way, like, did you write this for you because you have a story to tell and something to say to the world, or are you writing this for a specific audience already, having them in mind? And I don't know what the intention is behind the books, and I just don't enjoy them that much. But then her books were entertaining. I remember really liking Icebreaker more in the way that it was so chaotic and you can't look away, and it was really entertaining. But I don't know. I'm just it's funny because you can give a book review and then over time, like, your opinion on it really changes in the way that you look back on it, but it is what it is. Anyway, I just want to read good stories by people who are passionate about what they're doing, and I'm excited to discover new art, new authors, and just have a fun time. This is, by the way, in no means me trying to be pretentious or to rain on anyone's parade. You can like what you like, okay? And I respect that, and I love that for you. I really, really mean that. And I hope that you do read the books that you love, regardless of what anyone thinks, you know? If you want to read smut all the time, that's amazing. If you want to read fan fiction all the time, fucking go for it, you know? And that's what I love about the book community, because I do feel like there's a lot of space for that, for everyone to enjoy what they enjoy. And yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy what I enjoy and figure out what that is more and more. Okay. That was today's video. Maybe a little bit shorter, I don't know. My camera is at 10%,